Well, at some point they ended up getting a deal. So you guys had some kind of distribution through Interscope, or
yeah, we were signed to Antagonist / Image Records, and I think it was distributed by Interscope, and we ended up being on the same label as KRS-One.
That's right. That was when he was working on his Life album.
Well, that was when we started working on the Life album with him. The Life album wasn't even a thought at that point. He had just signed to the label, and the whole goal is that our group was on some super hip hop shit, and obviously he's KRS-One, so he would take us on tour and help us promote the Foot Soldiers project while promoting his project, and that was the whole plan. It didn't quite work out that way, but that was the whole plan, and so we ended up on the same label as him, and yeah.
Well, that's right, because he was featured on Ground Level on the Live This album from the Foot Soldiers.
I think he was featured on more than one. It was Ground Level and something else.
And something else. And then you guys also had the Tony Touch mixtape where he did a remix of the song Fucked Up that was on his Life album that had the Sublime sample.
Yeah.
That you were on.
Yeah, so he was on our album twice. We were on his album.
And then he was on your God's Plan.
And then he did the intro to my God's Plan, the Legacy of the One mixtape. And then he was also on the Tony Touch shit. We did a mixtape with Tony Touch he hosted. And yeah, it was kind of a crazy journey. I think my first time recording with him was so Trevor, the CEO of Antagonist Records, he also was of a group called Face to Face. They're like a legendary punk group.
Yeah, they were huge in the 90s.
They were huge in the 90s. And so he had a mashup album, and we did a mashup between one record and like a Static Lullaby record.
I forgot about that shit.
And the only 3 rappers on the project was me, KRS, and Planet Asia.
That's right. The Legion of Doom album.
No, that's before. That's what made the Legion of Doom. Yeah. It was the Legion of Doom.
That was the very first one.
Yes. It was called Incorporated or Unincorporated.
Incorporated had like the skulls on it or whatever. Yeah.
So I rapped on this Static Lullaby, mashed up some shit, and KRS was also on that album, and that was like the first time I even showed up on a similar project with him, and yeah, man, it was kind of a wild journey, kind of crazy how that kind of all took off that year in 2004, I believe.
So that was a big year. You also put out your God's Plan mixtape that same year. So in 1 year after Tri Blues ended,
no, I put
you signed the deal with
actually
Spawn.
No, it was the Uno Entertainment Volume 1. Yeah, that's what I put out that year.
That's what you put out that year. So in that same year, so you and Blues split, and then 2004 happens. You signed a deal with Spawn. You end up becoming a member of the Foot Soldiers, signing a deal with Antagonist Records. Mm-hmm. And start touring with KRS. At that same time, you also had the feature on the Legion of Doom shit and put out the Uno Entertainment mixtape?
Yeah, it's like within 18 months. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Just a lot of it was a lot of moving pieces. I was trying to find my footing at the time because Tri Blues was all that I knew. I didn't know anything else. You got to think up until this point, I had my group in high school, but we didn't really record like consistently. And, I started taking music seriously, and I worked with one producer this entire time. All I knew was Ja Blues. So I was trying to find my footing, and as battle rap continued to kind of groundswell for me, my name started to become super buzzworthy in the city and outside of the city too, because I was battling notable people.
That's right. You were on Freestyle Friday for BET that year, too,
That was later in 06, 07. That was later. But even still, so we battled, we went to Source Sound Lab. I was traveling, battling. I had did Scribble. I had, I was battling here at Elements, battling guys like Otherwise and Dotted Line and Poseidon and Deadeye and C4 and all these different guys. And I was going to the Wake Up Show regularly. They were invited.
That's right. You were there with Bishop Lamont and C4 and Berger.
Yeah. So I was going there regularly. So my name was really buzzing. I even remember around the time, so I'm about to date myself again. Big Boy had started his morning show. Like, then it's like, but not like on 90, because he's on 92.3 now. He was on
no,
Power
you're talking
106.
about like when it was in its infancy.
Yes. So, I want to say Carmelita from the Wake Up Show called me, and it was nuts because I had never met her up until this point. And she like, you know, I recognized the voice. At first I thought she was joking. She called me. I was like, who is this? This is Carmelita from the world famous Wake. I'm like, man, shut the fuck. I hung up on her. I was like, shut the fuck up. Boop. Hung up on her. She called back laughing, and she's like, no, it is me. This is Triune, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, look, we're starting this new morning show with a comedian by the name of Big Boy. And we're having a launch party, and I would like for you to battle as one of the opening acts. We have a guy named Loud and I knew Loud from Elements. That's my man.
Yeah. Well, him and C4, not only were they both at Elements, they were on the Blaze Battle, which was also hosted by KRS, which is
crazy, right? So, I battle Loud and shit. It's like a big thing. And then Big Boy goes on to be like the biggest radio show host in like LA radio history and shit.
Loud is incredible, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out to Loud, man. If you know, if you're alive well and you're able to kind of tune in, shout out to you, brother. So yeah, all of these things are kind of ground swelling at one time, and my name is buzzing in a way that it never was before, but I wanted it to be. And the first thing was starting Uno Entertainment. That was the first thing. Because one of the things that I felt, one of the kind of ways that I felt about the Tri Blues situation was Blues was in control of everything. That was another thing, because he was so much older than me and so much more mature and knew the business better than me. He was in control of everything. So everything that was on his hard drive, I didn't have. I didn't have my...
You don't have your masters.
No, I don't. I still don't have those sessions. Never will get them, because according to him, in modern times, he lost some hard drives. So I never will have those sessions. And so from that point forward, I vowed that I would put myself in a position to have more control over the things that I do. So I went to Sam Ash, grabbed the fucking credit card for like $2,000, bought a bunch of fucking equipment, set it up in my spot, and started recording the Uno Entertainment mixtape. That was the first course of action. And then after that, I signed a deal with Spawn. And then after that, the Foot Soldier shit happened. But the first thing was the Uno Entertainment mixtape.
Got a clique full of shooters. They won't let me down.